some dreads. Hey guys, it is John here at the Acoustic Shop. It is day 3 of the NAMM show, 2023, and we're hanging out here with one of my favorite people in the whole world. I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I mean this. But here's what we're doing. If you have not yet liked and subscribed, do that. Hit that button because we've been going around hitting so many booths today. Even if they're not dealers of ours that we work with, I want to cover acoustic guitars, I want to cover acoustic instruments, and everybody is going to be involved. So make sure you're tuning in because there's lots of great stuff. And as always, Inkley right now is monitoring if you have any questions, comments, any of that stuff for Richard or myself or about guitars, anything that we've done. Please put them in the comments because we're watching those. We'll try to answer those live on camera. So it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. And now I'm going to introduce this guy. This is truly one of my favorite people in the entire guitar industry and has been for a very long time. Richard Hoover, who has been synonymous with amazing boutique guitars for as long as I've played guitar, and it was way before that. And I have a huge history with Santa Cruz guitars. You do. Richard, how long has it been for Santa Cruz guitars right now?
Let's see, 47 years in September.
47 years in September. That is awesome. And been building, everybody has known about your guitars and what you've done and brought a whole new style and thought process into building acoustic instruments over this time period. And again, I am absolutely honored to hang out with you. Every year I get to see you is a great year, and we can talk about guitars and all that. So anyway, Richard Hoover, we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about some guitars. So what do you want to start with today?
Well, let's look at something that's a real standard, a real stalwart for everybody, and that would be, the Dreadnought guitar.
Sure.
And the Dreadnought used to be the drums in a band, right?
The power.
It was the rhythm, and people like Tony Rice, Doc Watson, Dan Prairie brought that forward to play the leads like the fiddle did.
Yeah.
And with that, there became it needed a different voice. So rather than a kind of a big boomy woofy sound, they needed articulation to hear single notes as you played leads.
Sure.
So the traditional Dreadnought, the pre-war Martin is the standard of that. Tony came to us because he wanted that mid-range treble to do that. So there's a few things that we did to achieve that.
This is, by the way, a Tony Rice Pro right here. It's me.
One of the most controversial, which shouldn't be, is what this does to enlarge the sound hole. And let's start with this. This is a big airspace. It tends to be overly bassy and not friendly for articulate notes.
Sure.
So with the bracing, we can change the EQ a bit. But what this sound hole does, it's not an opinion, it's science. The larger the aperture on a resonating chamber, the higher the frequency of the chamber, and it boosts mid-range and treble. I didn't make that up.
That is the opposite of what a lot of people try to say.
It's counterintuitive.
But I absolutely agree with you on this because I've seen this in my own experience. But
and then the opposite. When we do a real small body guitar that's suffering from enough bass because of the small airspace, we'll do a small sound hole to boost the bass. And you can see why the controversy, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
But the guy that taught us this, Hermann Helmholtz, way back in the turn of the last century, that set the standard in acoustic physics for what apertures do in a resonating chamber. So there you go.
There you go. So that's what we have is there a larger sound hole, and the Tony Rice has been done. It was something that was done to his guitar, and it became iconic as part of the look. But we've discovered there's actually some sonic major advantages to that kind of guitar. So
that's right. So we see on different guitars we have different sized sound holes to do that. Also, as custom builders, we use several different ways to control EQ in the guitar for what somebody's playing style is. Some people want a Dreadnought, but they don't want a huge bass and a heavy sound.
Sure.
Some people want a little guitar, but they want a big sound.
Big sound.
Vice versa.
Absolutely.
So this is, can you pick it off the wall?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is all the good stuff.
Yes.
And it's called the 34D, not just because it's styled like the pre-war guitar. It is made of the same stuff, and not just the kind of wood, but wood from that era. So we can't always find Adirondack spruce from the 1930s, but we go back to the 50s and 40s. And what we get here, and this is another one some people don't realize, the biggest factor in a guitar sounding better with age is that the wood, the resins in the wood polymerize and become more and more like crystal, and its more resin sounds better. So that can happen in a guitar being played. It can happen on the shelf of an old boat maker. It can happen if it was underwater in outer space. It's going to get more resonant, right?
Yeah.
So we use old first growth or virgin forest Adirondack, and then Brazilian rosewood. That's also
gorgeous
really
set.
old stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous set. And it's really funny because I'm holding this guitar right now. There's so much noise on the
you
floor,
feel the resonance.
but I can actually feel this guitar. And if you don't mind, does it mind if I play it just for a second?
I think that's a great idea. I'll quit talking about it.
He's so nice about it because I want to. You know, this, as you, a lot of you may or may not know, I have a Tony Rice model. Mine's a 1990. Me and Richard have talked about this many times. I love my guitar. Even with all this noise in here, there's so much power and punch to this guitar. And it sounds great. It feels great in the hands. Absolutely incredible guitar. Absolutely.
You said something awesome here, which is it's really resonant. And I'm going to give you the secrets of Stradivarius here, is that you can make a guitar really efficiently and keep the price down by, pre-shaping things, putting them together, and there you go. But the secret of the violin makers, they didn't work to a formula of dimensions, they worked to harmony. So they tuned the assembly and the pieces to be like a note. So when the guitar is excited, it sustains and develops overtones. All of them sound good. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you kind of brought towards the guitar building world. You were kind of bringing back these violin processes,
Absolutely.
And that was what you were kind of studying. I've done my research on this guy.
Yeah.
So.
I truly,
Yes.
That's the way all guitars are made.
We have a couple questions already.
What is the neck profile like on the Tony Rice model?
Neck profile, it is a very small V shape, I would say right now. Pretty low profile. It is 1 3/4 on this one version.
We really stick to the traditional 1 11/16.
Okay.
Tony's guitar was 1 5/8, but that's not for regular humans.
Gotcha.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know
So-
mine's an 11/16. I just didn't know if they were doing them in 1 3/4
now,
these days.
Again, as a custom shop, we do both. In fact, we do up to 1 13/16 on that. And as far as the neck shape, there's really market trends. It changes. So if you looked at a guitar that we made in, let's say, 1978 and then 1995 and today, you'd see an evolution of that because what people used to really like is a really tiny neck, seemed faster, it started to hurt.
Yes.
We had problems with repetitive stress from that clutch. So actually by adding a little material, it was safer for the player. And being relative and evolving is pretty important.
Yeah, I've got an incredible neck profile on my Santa Cruz, so we've talked about that. We're going to get mine back in play and run. Yes. A request for some OMs to be played. So want to take a look at an OM?
Let's do that.
All right, so what do we got?
We've got a few here because we're showing off, right?
Yes, we are.
So we did all this fancy work with these. This is Adirondack Cruz. And again, nice old stuff. It has a tint to it just to be sexy. Snakewood bridge and these really wonderful inlays.
This is a cool thing that Santa Cruz has been doing, is this big block of wood inlay, snake wood. Some of them been some really cool pearl, but I love this with the fine purfling that goes around that inlay block. Looks incredible. The bridge on this looks really, really nice as well.
Stuff.
It really is really nice.
So we make a couple of styles of OMs, and then and what a lot of people don't realize is we customize sound for people as well. Anything you can adjust on your sound system with a knob or a slider is a personal choice. If there was a right or wrong, they wouldn't give you a knob or a slider.
Absolutely.
So those are the things we can do with the guitar: EQ, tone, presence. And this guitar is designed for a more contemporary style, meaning it's not overly bassy. It's for fingerstyle or single line lead. So go ahead and give it.
Now I'm looking at this. This is snakewood binding on this. Are you also? I'm seeing an angle to the saddle as
That's
a backward angle. Is this a new thing that all Santa
No,
Cruzers
we've
are
done
doing?
this probably since the 90s, and I got the inspiration from the late great Rick Turner, Turner guitars. And if you think of this, the ball end anchors underneath the top, it pulls straight up, and then it pushes down on this, but mostly it pulls it, it's pushing it forward.
Cool, yeah.
And that not only creates the potential for cracks here, but it loses energy entering into the top.
I can see that.
Imagine it's pulling this way rather than going down. So by slanting this saddle back about 10 degrees, we get more downward pressure, more volume, more efficient transfer.
Very, very cool.
And it looks sexy.
Yeah, it does look really cool. So. Wow, super responsive.
Yeah, this is really articulate. Even people doing jazz like that EQ and that, and also the ergonomics, easy to hold.
Very, very responsive, very sweet.
Our standard OM that we voice for a bigger bass of our pre-war style is something that a lot of people use in bluegrass.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So now we're seeing Walnut back again here right now. And this is something, it's funny, this has been showing up a lot in various different spots throughout the NAMM show. Walnut is coming back, and I've had this discussion with other builders.
Yeah.
There's some of these manufacturers that have turned walnut into an inexpensive alternative wood. And I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that is being happened is not recognizing walnut for its incredible sonic capabilities as a high-end wood. Do you agree with me?
Beautifully well put. If people realize that the Tonal Spectrum, it's not good, better, worse. It's a tonal spectrum. So if the tonal spectrum is not bass to treble, if you had 10 little bells made of different metal, the silver one would be bright and clear.
Sure.
Same note, same volume. The bronze one would be warm, round, and depending on what your style of playing, you might like that.
Sure.
Walnut falls in that spectrum right between mahogany, let's say, and rosewood. The extremes would be something like an Indian rosewood at the warmer end, and maple or something like that at the other end. And this falls in between, making it super versatile.
Very cool.
And, everything that we use is responsibly harvested, so it's sustainable. And this is too, it's a product of the walnut industry, right? And it's beautiful.
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
Really pretty.
And I think guitar buyers need to kind of quit treating it as if it's a cheaper version. Same with Sapele. There are some incredible Sapele, and it becomes a super high-end tone wood. Yes, it's an inexpensive, a way to kind of get a more sustainable wood, but that does not mean that there's not better grades of them to make better tone palettes and a different tone palette.
And
So
it can be used gorgeous. And we've had this discussion here. One of my career goals is to get mahogany the respect it deserves.
yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We got another question for you. All right, we'll take a look at that.
And then is there any new string news?
String news? Any new string news?
Yeah. Got a lot of friends in the string business here. But let's tell it like it is. A violin player will spend like maybe $120 on 4 strings, and we want to pay like $10-$50. Something's amiss.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And it's just market demand. Manufacturers for so long just assume that we're more concerned about price than quality. It's more of a mass market appeal, and there wasn't a big enough demand for like a $50 string, let's say. But for players today, you want the best possible complement for your guitar, and it's not there, right? So what we did, we spent like the better part of 20 years developing a string design based on the principle of making the best, not the thing, because we couldn't get strings good enough for our guitars. Man, that's a snobby thing to say.
No, I like
But
it.
we put anything we don't make, we've designed and had made for us. So what happens with strings is you can go brand to brand to brand. They're all gauged, they're all the same size, but the amount of tension on those strings can vary like 10 pounds. And tension is what drives the amount of volume of the EQ. So you have a guitar you love, you use another brand of strings, where'd the bass go, right? But also, it's driving the top like different sized animals pulling a cart.
Sure.
It's not rotating it efficiently, it's herky-jerky. So our strings allow the guitar to speak in its natural voice, better sustain, better development of overtones, and it feels better. Because if you organize those tensions logically, you don't need as much tension to be louder, and it feels good with that. And then, sorry, commercial here. The longevity, the precision manufacture is more important than coding. So to build them right to start with, we get reports all the time they last like 3 times longer than most.
Very cool.
We needed a string for our guitars, that's why we developed it, and we need to sell them so we can scale it and pay less. So you're
That would be
helping
nice
us
too.
with our string. And we call it low tension and mid tension rather than light or medium gauge, so people pay attention. Some of them are like half a thousands, so it gets confusing. So we do light, medium. We do a dadgad set, which is really sorely needed.
I bet.
Yeah, with that. We do a baritone, a 12 string, and we'll maybe do some more iterations. But the thing is, we're not in this to be in the string business and add a new brand. We're trying to support our own habit.
I hear you.
Buy them you like, and that helps us.
There you go. All right, we're going to talk about the F because
Yes.
me and you were just talking about this guitar actually.
Oh yeah.
The FTC. This is one of, to me, the most iconic looks of Santa Cruz, and this headstock, to me, we were talking about it just the other day. This headstock, or just talking about today, this headstock was part of an ad campaign in the 90s that just absolutely epitomized who Santa Cruz was and that look. And I still, to this day, remember, I have a poster.
Oh yeah,
Of this.
yeah.
It was a peg head of that poster. I still have that poster from myself. Again, I'm a big fanboy. I'm not gonna lie.
I appreciate
am.
that.
But this is the FTC. This is a carved back and a flat top guitar, maple back. Very Art Deco, brings back some arch top stylings,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then the inlays as well. I love that off the side inlay that was there. So
Thank you.
absolutely cool guitar.
Well, we're all fans of arch tops because they just look so cool. But they're impractical for modern styles of playing where you want to sustain. The arch top was originally designed to be to cut through all the instruments in a big band, and so like each chord is a different note. You didn't want it to sustain. You wanted that chord to go away so you could hit the next one. And people are doing a lot of bleeding. So, but they projected like crazy. They do cut through the band and deliver that to the audience. So today we want this guitar as a performing guitar to be really project focus, cut through other instruments, and really be heard acoustically out there. At the same time, that's what the arch back does. But the top is conventionally braced, so we get the sustain, so you can do modern styles of playing.
Absolutely.
And it's not just a hybrid, it's a very specific thing. So one of the funny things is, I describe it like that, you sit down and you play it, and it's like, it doesn't seem that loud to me, but the guy in the chair in front of you is keeping his hat down
that's
the
right.
alley.
That's
Yeah.
right. More powerful on the front end. Yes.
Yeah.
Another question? Play that thing. All right.
Yeah.
We hold that
so
one
I'm just
second.
saying, this is supposed to be super articulate, really evenly balanced. Jazz, classical.
I hear it on the front side. Like I said, you can, by
great.
putting your head in front of it, it says it's there.
By the way, this back is carved in tune. Otherwise, it'd be a waste of time. You might as well press it. out of plywood. But that's the violin tradition.
Violin, graduation.
And making this in harmony with the airspace as well as the top. And here's a cool little arcade thing, is part of the projection comes from putting this added weight in the pig head. It blocks vibration from shimmening up the neck, whereas a slot head 12 fret is light and it doesn't make it part of that open airy sound. So this is focused, a lighter neck will make it more open and airy.
And that's part of what you guys are doing too. So much custom work these days.
That's right.
It is less of standard models, as it was 20, 30 years ago. But you guys are doing so much custom work. It's giving that, you were talking about it, the opportunity for somebody to come in and go, this is what I'm looking for. Not just, this is the model, I want to just do this. It's like, this is a model I want, this is the style I'm looking for, help me get to the sound. And your dealers have been trained to be able to do that and be able to help you build your guitar, do it the way you want it to be.
Well, as we'll discuss, what we want is the dealer to have a selection of stuff that somebody comes in, they'll find really close to what they want. But before they walk out the door, because the neck's not wide enough, that's where we come in to do that. And we support our dealers by communicating with players as well with that fun stuff.
Which is really cool. Again, great deal. Again, I'm not hounding him at this point. We love the guitar. Someday we'd love to work it out. We'll do something at some point. But that's what's awesome about what you've done. I love the fact that you continue to keep reinventing what you do and keep striving for a new sound. Because I've known you for quite a few years, and what I talk to you about, you're always excited about something with guitar building. So, thank you for spending some time with us. There's so many guitars on this wall. We could go all day long, but I really wanted you guys to hear what he's all about, what the guitars are all about, and it's been cool. Are there any other questions before we get out of here? Yep, bunch. Santa Cruz strings, do we carry them, or we were going to look into that and talk about that in the future.
That.
All right.
Yeah, we can do that.
There we go. So maybe that's something that we start getting into here shortly.
I'll send you home a sample.
All right. I got to play them. They're really great strings. So yes, there's a few dealers that have them already out there. You guys also have them available on the website. Is that true?
Yeah, they're online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can find them on Amazon.
Okay. So there you go. They're there as well. So.
But same price that you would.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions before we get out of here? No? All right. There is a question, why is the Acoustic Shop not a Santa Cruz deal? We're going to work on it. I hound him every single year. We will make this happen at some point. That's how the arm happened. I twisted it so much. No, I genuinely, my history with Santa Cruz, I do want to cover this real quick. I own a Tony Rice model from 1990. I have a Vintage Artist, which is really cool. Both of those of two of my greatest, were built for two of the greatest flat pickers that I know of, and you guys worked with them, Doc Watson and Tony Rice, my heroes, and this guy was part of those inspirations. I still play those guitars quite often, and I still love it. So again, really do love Santa Cruz and what they're doing. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to hear this guy talk about guitars. It was a whole bunch of fun. And again, leave some messages in here. Follow us, because we're going to be around the NAMM show all day today. So thank you very much, buddy.
John, you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next time.